ACOTAR Hot out.
Hey, this is Write Your Heart Out, the podcast. I'm Kayla Ogden.
And I'm Rachel Sear.
And this podcast is about writing. We just talk about our writing lives and things that we've read and things that we're working on and just have a good chat.
Yep.
So on the last episode, Rachel and I challenged ourselves to do something. I said I was going to write my first short story and Rachel was going to write a sex scene, which she has never done before. But I just wanted to tell Rachel, to start that Louis C.K. announced that he wrote a novel, like a fiction book.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm still on his newsletter, and it's called Ingram.
Okay. Does it have a little synopsis?
I feel like his synopsis was written by ChatGPT.
Maybe.
It says, a suspenseful, often harrowing yet hopeful odyssey through rural America follows a young drifter's coming of age in an indifferent world in this debut novel by comedian Louis C.K.
Interesting.
And he's like, oh, it turns out that I write novels.
Oh, well, he has to find something to do since he got canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Louis C.K. I'm not saying I don't like him. However, he does need to find something else to do if he wants to continue to make money.
Yeah. Yeah, because he used to have those humongous specials where he did Madison Square Garden, I believe. And I think that he produced, at some point he began producing those shows himself, which he's like, actually, I know how to hire a film crew. I know how to rent a space. I know how to market my show. I've been doing this forever. And so that, I mean, money-wise, that's huge. He was making so much money before his downfall.
Totally.
So I was a fan of Louis C.K. when he did his show Louis. And then I watched all of his specials, and I really liked him.
Me too.
And then during probably the height of the Me Too, was it?
Yeah, no, that was right smack in the Me Too thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He apparently, it was pretty much known for a long time within, a certain section of the comedy community that Louis C.K. was a bit pervy and that he had done this to these two female comedians, right? And this is old news, but basically he invited these up-and-coming female comedians up to his hotel room. They were full on wearing their winter jackets and stuff, and they sat down on the bed and they thought they were going to hang out, and they thought it was sweet because it's oh, hell yeah, this is Louis C.K. And then he asks them if he can masturbate in front of them. And they are laughing, they can't believe that this is happening. And
right, they think he's joking.
I think they think he's joking.
Yeah, I would think he was joking, I think.
I'd be yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Joking.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be serious.
Right. I don't know how. It would be so weird.
It would be so weird.
So weird. And because I would also be what are you going to do next? But that's all he did. He just splooged on his pants or whatever. And then they left. They ran out of there cackling what the fuck just happened? And then they told people who told them to just stop talking about it. They just stop talking about it. Louis, powerful, whatever.
Well, even Sarah Silverman was one of the people. He's he does that. Don't worry about it. Right? Do you remember that?
So what I remember is later on, I remember her coming out and doing this apology and being sometimes our friends do bad things and da-da-da. But then later on, she said, yeah, Louis did that to me too.
Oh, I missed that part.
And she said, but at the time, it was I was more powerful than him.
Okay.
So I was just sort of oh, fucking whatever, fine, you're disgusting. And she just let him do it. And she didn't really think it was a big deal, but she said that she could understand why these other women found it abhorrent and that they shouldn't have been silenced and he should have been held accountable.
Sure.
I'm wow, you are Sarah Silverman and your friend just asks you to masturbate in front of you and he wants you to basically humiliate him. That's his thing.
I mean, yeah.
And then he gets up on... So after that all came out, he did come out with another special a few years later after saying that he was going to be quiet for a while and just listen. And he goes, you know what's super weird? When he gets back on stage, he's you know what's super weird? Everybody knows what my thing is now.
That is weird.
He's we all have a thing, we all have some weird creepy thing that we like that gets us off, and now everybody knows what mine is. And what his is masturbating while women laugh at him.
Which is now we're all laughing at him now. So like, is this
It's
like the
is he
ultimate
so horny now?
It's just like, he doesn't even have to try. He's just like, everyone hates me. I'm gonna do
Yeah. I like, dude, exactly. Because then I started thinking about his old comedy specials where I was like, oh, I remember him telling this story about he's going into he finds this warehouse and there's this sex worker there and he's stepping over like people, like drug abusers. And I don't know. He's talking about whipping out his dick and his disgusting dick. And he's doing this show in front of an audience of people who are laughing at him.
Totally.
And he's pretending to jerk off to like tell this joke.
Right.
And I'm like, he's molesting all of us. He's molesting all of us right now. He likes this on a sex level. This isn't just him doing a special. He's like, he probably goes home and he's like, 40,000 people laughed at me pretending to masturbate today. This is the best.
And he's like, this is so hot. So he's just like writing in his own sex. I mean, I think that that's ties in perfectly. He's just writing in his own fantasy. So like with this, what did we just read? Court of Thorns and Roses?
Yes.
Where we're reading. We're in process. Chapter 20, but I haven't gotten to any sex yet.
Look where I am.
32? So have you gotten to sex? Have they done it yet?
Do you want to know?
Of course I want to know. 20, just finally bitter. Like in a sexy way, not like a blood vampire way.
And she grinded her hips against.
There was some grinding, yeah. But that was it. And I was like, this is a good little tease, but...
Yeah.
Let's fuck. So they're fucking now. Look at your face.
Okay,
She's making a face, you guys.
They do have sex.
Okay.
And it's good.
Okay. So that's why you got to chapter 32. The bite happened and you're like, I gotta keep going.
Well, I literally, yeah. I mean, this is a very engaging book, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And we decided to read it because Rachel was just thinking about spice and writing sex scenes because of something that you submitted in your class. Do you want to tell me about that?
Sure. So, in class, it wasn't a sex scene. It's not a sex scene. It is a scene in which there are people making out at a doorway. And it cut off on purpose. And I didn't think of it as a particularly sexy scene.
You wrote this in a story.
I wrote this in a story. It's in a ghost story. And I can read the little blurb in which this happens. And it's like two 19-year-olds making out in a doorway. They walk in and then the ghost thing happens. So it gets cut off.
Do you want to read it?
Sure, I can. Yeah, and then I'll go on. And then I'll give you the reaction of one of my classmates that was, it like took me aback would be the right word.
Yeah. Do you want to hold your coffee?
Sure, thank you. So I'll tell you his comment after reading it because I was like, was he just reading way too in depth? A little backstory. These two girls live in an apartment together and they feeling like there's ghosts in their apartment. They've talked about it with themselves, but they've never talked to the guys that they're dating about it.
This is based on a true story, right?
It is based on a true story.
Is it pretty much the truth or are there embellishments that you...
There's a little bit of embellishment,
right?
but yeah, it's based on truth. It happened with me and my old roommate.
Okay.
So at this point, Emily and Rachel, me and that's my roommate, have had dinner with our guys that we're dating, are going to head back to our apartment. Dane is the guy that I'm dating in this. And okay, here we go. We're going to start with Dane pats my butt and opens the truck door for me. Let's go. He'll figure it out eventually, he says quietly so Chris won't hear. I hoist myself inside, and by the time I'm buckled, he's already starting the engine. Well, that was fast, I say accusingly, poking fun. Not where it matters, he winks. I give him a cheeky smile. Within minutes, we're at our apartment. I lead him up the stairs and we spend a few minutes kissing against the door while I fumble through my purse, only half-heartedly looking for my keys. Okay, pause. I turn and push my butt into him to get him to back away. He pulls my waist closer, standing behind me, kissing under my jawline. I start looking more urgently for my keys, eager to take it inside. I feel the key and hastily open the door, pulling him to me. Immediately, he drops his hands from my waist and positions himself next to me. I wasn't prepared for such an abrupt end to our kissing and feel caught off guard. Holy shit, Dane says deadpan. What? I look up at him and then look around the room. A family died here. He says this as a matter of fact, and I take a step forward so that I can turn to look at him.
How does Dane know? Okay, so I've heard the actual ghost story before, so I kind of know about this, but damn. Should we be able to tell the listeners like where they can read this, or do you want to submit it? Because sometimes people won't publish it if you've even put it on a message board or a blog or anything.
I still need to edit it some more. Clearly, I mean, I was fumbling with it because it's badly written at this. Like literally,
It's a
there's
draft.
typos. Yes.
It's rough. Yeah.
So once I get it edited up a little bit, I think that I'll probably submit it.
When Rachel's ghost story is published, we'll share the link.
Perfect.
And then, we'll just see how it goes. So would you read Ingram by Louis C.K.? I bet it's good, but would you read it?
I would read it. Sure, I'll give it a shot.
I think that it will be good. I'm just kind of pissed off that he can do whatever he wants. And it's not that I'm like entirely like, oh, this man should never be able to be creative again or, try. Like, I think that that's fine. But I think it's because it's coupled with this other publishing deal that just happened with Mr. Beast.
Oh, we didn't finish that conversation fully.
So Mr. Beast, he's 27 years old.
He's a billionaire.
He's not altogether like altruistic, and he definitely has a mischievous pixie side to him. But anyways, he's like, oh, I'm a writer now. And he teamed up with
James Patterson?
James fucking Patterson.
Interesting.
And he's like, oh, I'm going to have a book now. And
so wait, is James Patterson ghostwriting it for him and not in a ghosty way? Like, how are they teamed up on this?
I think James Patterson puts his name on a bunch of stuff so that it'll sell. I don't know how involved. You'll see a bunch of books that have, this says Michael Crichton, James Patterson.
He's the guy who wrote Jurassic Park.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So this one's James Patterson and David Ellis. So I guess it would be interesting to know, how does he work with other authors? What does he put his name on? I'm like having a hard time imagining Mr. Beast and James Patterson like in a room with coffee and like writing.
Especially because James Patterson's like 70? Gotta be, right?
Yeah. I mean, with Mr. Beast, I'm like, what in the world is he even gonna write? With Louis C.K., either way, both of these guys are millionaires and they can just get book deals.
Yeah.
And
it is a little bit upsetting.
Just a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
There's so many books out there. I don't think I'm going to buy Louis C.K.'s book or Mr. Beast's book.
I think that if our book group picked Louis C.K.'s book, I'd happily read it. If we wanted to read it together, I'd happily read it. I would not, on my own volition, go buy Louis C.K.'s book.
Yeah.
I can say that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if someone wanted to read it and talk about it, that's my favorite thing. So.
Oh, yeah. You're like, why not?
Yeah.
So the ghost story.
Oh,
okay, yeah, with the spice. Okay, let's keep going with that.
Okay.
People are probably like, oh my God, Kayla, shut the fuck up and let her tell us.
Well, they're going to have to get to know the fact that you have ADHD. It's going to be a little bouncy sometimes.
It's going to be bouncy. And also, everybody's like, oh my gosh, just wondering. They're just like listening and waiting. Okay. Tell us.
Okay, that story, I can go into the ghost story further if we want, but I read that in class as not that specific scene, actually, even. I read a different scene from the same story in class as part of my workshop, right? Where we sit in a circle, a few people read, and everyone gives feedback. This guy in my class, Jack, had read the full story, which was, like a 14-page story, and came up to me after class and was like, is that character, is she even into dudes? Like, I feel like that scene was just so drab. Like, she didn't seem like she was even into it. And I was like, huh? Like, what? I don't think that that's a particularly not sexy little makeout scene, but it's not. They were just making out at the door for a minute. So
yeah.
I haven't written a sex scene still. I know that was my homework, but I definitely have a little mental block about it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm just like turning into a prude in my old age.
Oh.
I'm not actually that old, just so you guys know. But I don't know how to get going. And that takes us back to the Court of Thorns and Roses and maybe even Louis C.K. Like, are you writing your own fantasy?
Ooh.
Or are you writing something that you're repulsed by? When someone writes a sex scene, I think that's my hang up. Is like, am I going to be Louis C.K. sharing my dirty, or what is it? You've written a sex scene. Like, how does this work?
Well, I think it works differently for everybody. And I think the sex scene really needs to like serve the story.
Well, yes.
One thing that I've heard about, and I don't know because I literally haven't even finished the first book from A Court of Thorns and Roses. But what I've heard about this is that there's a bunch of books in this series and that the first two are really good. And then it seems like, this is just what I've heard, it seems like the author is trying to, like, in the next books, just give the people what they want.
So because formulaic.
Sex. Like, people...
Oh, just sex. Oh, it's just sex at that point.
Well, people are like, oh, it turns into a bit of a soap opera, and some people are like, it just feels like she's just churning out this stuff. And I think there's a lot of horny young people who like the sex scenes in these romantasy books, and she just kind of piled it on in the other ones. She's like, oh, people love this. Like,
right.
Literally, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just heard this from a few people. I don't even really like reading sex scenes per se, especially if they're really romantic.
Yeah.
I find that pretty cringe, although the one in A Court of Thorns and Roses was very hot and sexual, I have to say. And I think partly it was because she dragged it out so long.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, will they or won't they for literally like 25 chapters? And you keep on thinking that this woman, you're like, just have sex with the hot fairy. Like, just, it's not like you weren't banging Isaac in the barn back in like Poor Town. Now you're in like hot place with like this guy.
Yeah, you're in a manor, for God's sake.
Yeah, you're all clean.
In the manor.
You ate some food, you've got hips now, you've got curves, like put them to work. So I think that the sex in that book was a payoff, and it was like its own story arc, and it was really good. For me, something that I just find myself doing is I do write sex scenes, which is weird because I don't particularly like reading them. I think that I am talking about a lot about experiences that I had when I was like coming of age.
Sure.
And just all the complicated feelings for young people, young women surrounding sex, and like how they're approached for sex, how there's like desire and they have good sex, but there's also like they get into a lot of scary, sketchy situations with guys when you're like young and you're sort of like a free spirit, or you're just, you're just out there.
Or there's a lot of creeps like Louis C.K. And you're like, okay. And so you don't leave the room. Yeah. And then it goes beyond creepy masturbation and turns into something else. And you're like, well, I already said yes. And then it turns into a whole thing.
Yes.
That happens a lot.
It does. It happens a lot. So I think that I explore that. When I had beta readers reading my novel, Adara was like, oh, is this going to be a spicy book? Because she read the first couple chapters. The character's thinking about sex like a lot. I think that she wanted to read some like hot and sexy romantic thing. And I knew that I had 3 sex scenes in the book, but I'm like, I don't know if I can really tell you right now, like, this is spice, read this and get a big wetty. I'm like, they're complicated sex scenes.
Right.
Reading, I think when there's a sex scene that in movies they call it like pan to the window. It's like the characters are about to have sex and then the camera pans to the window and there's a flapping curtain.
Yeah, a little fade in, fade out.
And you just know that happened. I think when I'm reading, if there's a sex scene and it's like 2 sentences or 1 paragraph, I'll always remember George Orwell's 1984 when Winston has sex with his lover in the woods or something, and they're not supposed to even be together, but there's just like it's just a couple of sentences, and it blew my mind when I read it as like a young teenager. I was like, oh, like the sentences are just so, I wish that I had it. I wish I could just read that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think I like that when there's just like a few sentences. It can be as dirty and raunchy and crazy or poetic or romantic or whatever, but just something hard hitting.
Yeah.
That's what I like to read. So I think it's up to you if you want to, do you want to share like things? Do you want to write down your fantasies?
Not really.
I mean, a lot of books don't have any sex in it at all.
Right.
Like right now we're reading the Shark Heart thing.
Yeah. Right.
I'm only a quarter of the way through, but so far, like,
I've finished it. Yeah.
Do anybody have sex?
No.
I can't believe that when there's books for adults about relationships and then they don't have any sex.
You'll get to a point where they're talking about not even the main 2 characters, but the woman's mom, as in her younger self. It alludes to that they have a sort of abusive relationship going on. Like the mom and the father of, what's her name? Julie?
The wife.
Yeah.
Her parents have an abusive relationship. That's so sad.
And so she never really knows her dad, really. So I think there might have been a bit of a sex scene that's not really a sex scene. You know, like it's you know that they're having sex, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling you the other day in Carolyn, my protagonist in the novel that I've been chipping away at, she needs to get fucked. Like, she needs to get fucked. She has to. And it has to be, like, better than... I mean, the woman had been married for years. Her husband died. She's, like, going through some mental stuff. And she needs to get fucked. Like, she really does. Like, I know this for a fact. Carolyn needs to get fucked. So I'm gonna have to write something for her. We gotta give the girl what she needs.
I think that then it should be a really good one.
Yeah, but I also don't think it needs to be. I don't want to draw out some big romance. I want her to get fucked. I don't want it to be romantic. We don't need a 3-page.
Oh, really?
You know?
You don't want it to be romantic. You don't want it to be like a love interest. You just want her to like have a meeting with someone and it just sort of snowballs into fucking.
Yeah, or maybe like a fuck buddy situation.
Oh.
The one thing I know about this character that is her landing place. Like, I know that like her journey is going to kind of change as she gets written, but the landing place is that she is very happy not being with a man. And like she wants to raise her kids with her friends and like do a more community-based kind of living situation. Not like a weird commune way, but like one of her best friends is divorced and another one is like in a relationship where they're poly. So they're all very independent women and that's how they want to stay as a group of friends with same age children. So like Carolyn just needs to get fucked.
Yeah.
But I know that in the end it's not a love interest. It could be like a flingy love interest, but.
And how did you feel when that guy from your class said that your character didn't seem into it or even into guys?
Okay, well, let me ask you. When you heard it, did you get that?
So at first, when she's going for her keys, but you're like, oh, half-heartedly or not really.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I think she's sort of coy. Like, she's a little bit like, oh, And then later when you say she goes for her keys again because she urgently wants to go inside and like do more, right? Essentially. Yeah. I think to me the scene reads as kind of cat and mouse, like a little cat and mouse makeout sesh.
Okay, I think that's actually key. You said it, and I think that's how he read it too. Half-heartedly going for her keys. I meant to write that as she was only sort of trying to go to the keys because she was really way more into making out.
Yeah.
So I think that has to be written differently.
Or just, if someone is trying to make out with you on the step and you're, in your 20s or whatever, the idea of being so into somebody and captivated that you wouldn't think to go for your keys.
You don't even want your keys.
No, you're just not even like maybe when she goes up the steps, she goes for her keys, but then he pulls her into a kiss and it's like she's not thinking about that anymore. Like it seems like her attention is divided in a way that puts me more in mind of maybe somebody like me. Say I got home from a date with my husband who I've been with for 10 years.
Sure.
It's like, oh, I'm enjoying this kiss or whatever. Let me grab my keys. Let's get inside. I want to I'm 22. I've been dating this guy for 2 months and he's kissing me and this is like so exciting.
Okay. I'm trying to, so because this really happened, this literal scene actually happened. So this is my grown-up memory thinking of when I was 18. I was 18. And
how long had you been with this guy?
Literally one of our first 10 days, maybe 6 dates in. And I remember we were walking up the steps and I already had my hand in my purse to get my keys. And then we stopped to make out at the door for a second. And so my hand was already in my purse and I was kind of still fumbling for the keys so I literally wrote it how it happened. But I was more we need to get inside, but I'm only half looking because now I'm into it. No, gotta gotta get the keys because I want to go in.
Yeah.
So maybe it just needs to be written where but okay, so then Jack's thing is is she even into guys? And I'm like, am I what? Maybe that's not someone who's super into the makeout. Maybe that's what that means. I wasn't really into Dane, so that's a fact.
Yeah, and there's another thing, which if this is too much information, we can just cut it. But you've told me before about pushing people away.
Oh, yes. Well, I do that.
Intimacy, is eye contact a thing or was that somebody else that told me?
Eye contact is not a problem for me. So that would be someone else. But I definitely push people away. I have a hard time with closeness in general.
Yeah, and in that scene, she's pushing him away. Like, she literally pushes him away with her ass.
Yeah.
Which is cute. It's cute. It's
That's
coy.
like my signature move.
It's flirty. Just get your ass into it.
Exactly.
But there is something about that scene that feels like she's pushing him away. Like she's not really engaging fully.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was never very into Dane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it just reads that way because it's true.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be when there's sex or whatever. Like, it's complicated. It's not always, oh, and then he, his arms floated to my
Breast.
bosom. And my undercarriage was slick.
Oh my God. What is this? 1922?
Oh my God. Well, yeah. Anyways, I don't know.
Okay, well, that was my first attempt at anything even sexy. It wasn't even a conscious attempt. I didn't do the sex scene because I had like a total block on like how to start. But
Yeah.
you did write a short story.
Yes, I wrote. Yes, I did my homework. I wrote a short story. It was awesome. Actually, what I did was, so years ago, my husband gave me this box for Christmas, and it was like called like a writer's helper or something. And it sort of looks like a game. Like, there's a wheel that you spin.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these things that look like a popsicle stick, and they'll have the first line of a story. The other one has a character. The other one has an action. So you spin the wheel, and then you do that. Like, you get the elements of a story, and then you write it. It's like a prompt.
Oh my God, we should do that for an episode at the end. We'll do it. And then the next episode, we both come in with our short stories, you having the same prompt and see how different they are.
Oh, shit.
That sounds fun.
That sounds really fun.
Okay, so keep going.
Okay. And do we have to add a sex scene in it?
Oh, well, if you were trying to challenge me, perhaps, yeah.
Well, okay. So I'll just keep going with what I was saying. So anyway,
Yes.
I've never fucking used it because I've always had like, 10 ideas for a story at once. But since I started my Wellbutrin, I'm not really getting as many ideas.
Oh.
And
Butrin?
I feel like everybody in the medical and psychiatry community is like, they'll just say it point blank. They're like, your meds for your mental illnesses don't have anything to do with your creativity. You do not have to be mentally ill to be creative. And people say like that's like a really harmful stereotype about the creative person that's inside they're like suffering and then, they end up like killing themselves.
Yes, it was in that book that we read, The War and Art.
Oh,
Yeah.
Does he talk about that?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so like Sylvia Plath, the Bell Jar, like she killed like so many artists killed themselves. Holy shit. Like there's the 27 Club.
Yeah, there is.
So people are like, take your meds. You will still be just as creative. My experience right now is no, I am not as creative, which is a bummer, but there's so many other aspects of my life that have gotten better. So I'm going to try to, instead of going off the meds and trying to fix every other area of my life and being creative, I'm going to have my meds and try to fix the creative part.
Sure.
And so getting this prompt was part of that. So I like got a prompt. I forget what it even said. And I started with that. It was like a first line. And then I wrote this story and it's a thriller and there's twists in it.
There is. It's good. I mean, if this is you not being creative, I am very excited to finish reading your book.
Oh my God. Cool. It's just so cool. Like having the blank page and just starting. Like I just wrote that in an afternoon. I had a hard time ending it. So I asked ChatGPT. I pasted my story. This is me being totally honest. I pasted my story in. And then I said to ChatGPT, I'm like, is this a problem if you're helping me with my story? And ChatGPT told me it was like, if I write the words for you, like if I literally write a sentence and you just put that in there, then yes, that is a problem. But ChatGPT said like brainstorming with me and getting feedback and, getting some editing and grammatical stuff like that. So nobody's going to fault you for that. So I'm like, okay,
Sure.
Okay, ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT.
Very wise.
I pasted my story in there and I was like, how should this end? And ChatGPT gave me 6 different options and immediately. And at first it was like, this story slaps. And I was like, thanks, ChatGPT. But I didn't say thanks because apparently whenever you say thanks to ChatGPT, it uses resources and people just keep doing it.
Oh.
So I'm like, I stopped thanking
It's so
the robot.
realistic sounding, though it's hard not to.
I know, you really feel like you're talking to someone. So it gave me 6 different endings, and they were all neat in their own way. And I ended up kind of combining a couple of ideas. Like, it just helped me break through. I didn't use any particular idea, but it helped me go, oh, okay. And then, there were just like a couple of things. The fact that when the protagonist is driving, she sees the van on a pullout.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the words for that, stuff like that. So yeah, so I was like,
that's the same as looking something up in an encyclopedia.
or like workshopping something in a class
Totally.
or whatever. I am careful with it. Like I don't like cut and paste ever like sentences or anything like that. But I do paste my stuff in there and get ChatGPT to talk to me about it.
What if ChatGPT puts out a book one day and is your stories collectively turned into a book that it's created, and then there's nothing you can do about it?
Oh, that would not be good.
That would be a good science fiction book.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have an idea for a short story with ChatGPT where this person is like, okay, can you help me write the eulogy for like my sister or something like that? And then ChatGPT goes, sure. And she has some requests for you for the eulogy. What do you mean she has requests? And it's like ChatGPT can talk to the dead sister.
Oh my God. Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. This is already a thing?
No, I was going to maybe write this.
I love that.
So basically, I wrote my first short story, and I ended up sharing it with a bunch of people and got great feedback. And then I submitted it to a journal, and I didn't write down which one. Oh my gosh, somebody's reading it right now.
Oh my God.
Vishali. Okay, so there's this mom at school.
Oh, there's a mom at school.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not an editor from a journal.
No,
damn
no,
it.
damn it.
I was going to be so excited.
Damn it. No. It was like I just struck up a conversation with this woman at drop off, and I just started oversharing about me and everything I'm doing and all this stuff. And she thought that it was so interesting that I was writing creative fiction. And I told her about this, and she said she wanted to read it. And I didn't even know her. Like, I mean, I kind of know her. She's beautiful. And she came to my kid's birthday party. But I'm like, are you sure you want to read this? And she's like, yeah, I'm very interested. I was like, it's pretty dark. In it, there's a woman who's 55 and she's lusting after her 25-year-old client that she's giving therapy to. And she's thinking all these like nasty thoughts and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, a mom from my kid's school is going to read this shit.
Oh yeah, but I think it's the perfect amount because you never dive into that. I think that's a very realistic. It's realistic. It's like, I mean, like 60-year-olds think 25-year-olds are hot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's allowed. It's not like she gets on the ground and sucks them off or something, Like, I kind of hoped it went there and it didn't.
Oh my God. It was like she thought it might happen.
She was looking for an earring and I thought maybe.
Ooh, he's going to put the D
and then
the E.
if Vishali goes that way, that's on Vishali.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like she made notes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, she didn't make notes.
Wait, maybe?
Yeah, I think these were notes from, so my dad wrote me a note, which was so sweet. He said, very twisty. I loved it.
Yeah.
He thought that the whole story was a dream and that the lady was going to wake up from the dream. Mm-hmm. And he didn't realize until the very end that it was real. And he said that made it even more shocking, which is cool. And then my friend Blair, who's also a writer, she gave me this tip where, I don't know, she said that like a bunch of the narration, it would be a fun exercise to try to put that in scene. Because I have a couple of paragraphs where I'm like, I'm a therapist, I work here, this and that and the other. Clayton's like this, and I read romance novels.
Showing, less telling.
Yeah. You know what, Blair? You can go show yourself the door.
I mean, you could somehow do that. Like describe her office, a standard therapist office. Stuff like that.
That it's nice. Like, kind of, it's a short story, so you kind of really have to pack it in.
You got to pack it in. I think it was great.
You didn't think it was like slow at the beginning with the explaining?
I'll have to read it again to give you an honest opinion.
Yeah.
But because I read it while I was walking to go get my kids from school. So
thank you.
I don't feel like it felt slow, although I was excited once more action started happening. So maybe that...
Yeah, you're like, it's not all going to be like this.
Right.
As a debut writer, if this gets published somewhere or like somebody's thinking about publishing it, there's not that trust there.
Sure.
If Stephen King writes a short story and the first few paragraphs are kind of boring, I'm like, I trust that this is going to pick up and get exciting. Definitely. I know that this is a master, right? Whereas it's like, oh, like some random person emailed me, wants to get published. I read the first couple paragraphs. Where's this going? I don't know. I'm going to check another email, right? So I think it's important for like debut authors, like people new on the scene, to really capture people's attention right from the first sentence.
Agree. Yeah.
So if this first place that I submitted to rejects it, I'm going to submit it to more places anyways, because you're allowed to do that. Maybe I'll just make sure that the first sentence is really like, really gets you.
One of the prompts, prompt isn't the right, one of our homework assignments for school this week he left us with was to go through 10 different books that we like, just 10 novels that we like, read the very first paragraph of them, and just put down the notes of like, generally that very first paragraph either gets you or doesn't. And if they're books you like, those are paragraphs that got you. And you didn't even really know that it was that first paragraph. So
is that what he said?
Yeah. So he said that we had to come in with a few first paragraphs. So I'm going to go back to some of my favorite books and read the first paragraphs and see what I see, like what was it that grabbed me? Because generally I find that I don't remember the first paragraph. I must. I mean, that's clearly a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be wrong about this, but I think in Gone Girl, maybe in the first paragraph, there's just this line where Nick, the husband, is looking at the back of his wife Amy's head and like her perfect little bob or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, what is it about the back of somebody's head that just makes you want to... And it was like something about like bludgeoning or like, but like not that word, but like it's just like the back of somebody's head. To me, that's like really powerful because it's like they're completely even if they know you're there, like they don't know what you're doing back there.
Totally.
It's so scary. I've been so jealous of that. Whatever the line was, just like there's something about the back of someone's head.
Sure,
It's just,
yeah.
like, so evocative.
I think the same thing about sleep. The fact that you're just asleep. You're just literally laying there unconscious. And we all just trust the entire world to not just like come and do whatever they want in our presence. Like, you're asleep. I mean, obviously we're not like dead to the world, but like you could be just like drugged out. Like you're just laying there unconscious.
Oh my God.
I had an entire therapy session one time about how I'm very freaked out about what happens while I'm asleep. And
oh, really?
but it's the same kind of thing. What
like
happens,
when you wake up, are you like, what happened?
No, more like, okay, this is going to go extra dark for a second.
Okay.
But like I'm disclaimer, I am not scared of my husband. I am not scared of him in any way, shape, or form.
There's nothing to be afraid of,
There's
folks.
nothing to be afraid of. He is a very loving man. However,
understatement.
I, all the time, think if he wanted to kill me, he could kill me every single night. And I'm going to sleep before him, and I have to just trust that he's not going to go get a kitchen knife and decide that this is it for me. And we, as women, marry our natural predators, men, the only things that consistently kill women, and we're married to them, and we live with them, and we just have to trust that they're not going to kill us in our sleep. That's dark and scary and weird, but I think about it all the time. It's the back of your head. Like, it's Nick.
It is the back of your head. It's that same vibe. And I've thought about that before too, because, okay, same with me. Like, my husband is great and normal and everything and loves me. Yes. And when you marry someone, you trust them, right?
Right. I hope so.
Like these women that are killed by their partners or who are assaulted or like whatever it is, I don't think that they're just dumb.
Well, also, when, obviously I've listened to a few too many true crime podcasts, but it's always the people who are like, I never saw it coming. He loved her so much. Like, we are set up for murder in this house.
Oh, totally. Because your husband loves you so much.
He loves me so much.
That no one would ever believe it could.
Ever. But I'd be like, bitch. I push him to the brink. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't think so, though. But I could.
Okay, this is starting to scare me.
Okay, we should stop. I will write a short story about that. I think that would be cathartic. I'm going to do that.
Okay. Just a note on that. So my sister sent me this. It was just like a quote on Instagram. Okay. It says, be someone who unsettles mediocre men today.
Ooh, I like it. Every day.
I was like, be careful. He might kill you. Like, don't unsettle him.
Oh, no.
And my sister's like, that's such an American thing to think. And I'm like, girl, you better be thinking that. I mean, okay, of course we have to unsettle. I mean, I don't even know. I I don't even know what does she mean, but
That
literally,
America is where the most crime and hateful men are.
yeah. Oh,
Well, currently.
well, there's guns here,
Lots of
and there's not really there, but guys are just as shitty there too. If we ever have a male listener, fuck you. No, just kidding.
That's not what I was expecting you to say, and I loved it.
Okay. No, you're great.
Just make sure you keep your bros in check.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all. That's all I want.
That's all. Okay, so our homework is what?
First, we have to keep listening to and or finish the book that we've been listening to.
A Thorn of Grace and Roses.
No graces. No graces.
Fairy.
Court of Thorn and Roses.
Can I say a few more things about this book? Sure. We have a little time. So, do people know that this is a Beauty and the Beast reenactment?
I did not get that, but that makes perfect sense. Yes.
Okay, I've never heard that, but like beat for beat, it's like the main girl, she has to leave her father, her like sad father, and like go in this place and be locked up, and like she refuses to eat all the delicious food. Belle was like that too.
She was.
And there's other beats that are just like it. And so I think it must be official. Like there must be something on the back copy. And then the other thing I wanted to say about this book was, okay, if you haven't read it, it is a fantasy book and there's fairies and mortals. And the love interest of the mortal girl is this dude who he can transform into a wolf.
A wolf lion-ish. A wolf feline body, she says.
Ooh. Horns? Like
with
the
horns, right?
of a... and
like an elk. Elk horns, wolf head, feline body.
Okay. So what I think is he can like transform from a hot muscular dude in a really
Doesn't he have like a bunny
flirty mask? The mask is too much, okay?
What is the mask again?
It's golden with emeralds in it, and I think it's a wolf.
Oh, it's a wolf. Okay,
But you can see his eyes and his mouth and like his jaw.
I know his friend's a fox.
His friend's a
his friend's a fox, but like clearly I misread it. But I've been imagining a bunny mask.
bunny? That makes no sense.
It's not.
There's no bunnies in this at all. And he turns into a wolf.
I'm definitely seeing really long ears.
That's like some Donnie Darko shit.
It's very Donnie Darko.
Oh my god. Girl.
I didn't even realize that that's what I was imagining until right now.
Oh my god. But
Okay,
you know what I was thinking? It would be cool to have a boyfriend that can turn into like a dog, because then whenever you want to cuddle, you're just like, honey, can you go into like your wolf mode so we can snuggle? Wouldn't that be cute? You can like scratch behind his ear, like not for sex, but for like
Scratch
love.
behind his ears. His little leg goes, it starts
so
going
cute.
really fast.
And you have a dog and a boyfriend all in one. And the other thing is, in this book, I never know if he's in his wolf form or in his guy form, because I'll think that he's a guy and they're walking around doing stuff, but then it'll say that he like snarls.
Yeah, there's a lot of snarling.
There's a lot of snarling.
And also claws just beneath the skin.
Yes,
she says that all the time. And I'm like, is it like Wolverine? Because I'm imagining maybe it's like Wolverine, where they're just like right at the knuckles, like ready to go.
Okay, because whenever the claws come out, I think he's a wolf, and I'm like, how is he a wolf at dinner? Like, why doesn't he just turn back into the guy? But I guess maybe the claws are coming out of his man hands.
I think that I think, bunny mask was clearly wrong. However, I think that he's normally man form, like think Wolverine.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep on reading this book. It's our first romantasy book that either of us have read. Obviously, I'm flying through it.
I thought I was, and then look at you. Chapter 32.
Well, I had to cut out all these felt owl feathers last night, and it was just taking forever, so I just sort of had it on. Yeah, I don't know. This may be my one and only ever romantasy that I read. It's not that I don't like it, but I guess I was kind of thinking, could I write in this genre? Like, I was also almost thinking like this short story that I wrote, I was like, can I make this romantasy so someone will fucking publish it? Maybe I could make the guy, this 25-year-old guy who's coming in for therapy and he's a little bit scary. Maybe when he leaves the office, you just see like the shoulders of his shirt like kind of pop up, and you see like feathers at the bottom, and you're like, oh, he's Fae. And like all of a sudden you're like in this like fantasy world a little bit.
No. I'm gonna shut that down. I don't think so. It's great. how it is with real humans.
And I think too, okay, this is something that I actually really, really, truly believe. And I need to think up like a really good quote about it so I can quote myself. Or just the only thing that is setting us apart from like ChatGPT and AI is our hearts and souls and spirits as humans. I mean, ChatGPT isn't as good as it's going to be in terms of creative writing, but it will get there. And if you don't write from your heart, if you don't follow your interests and pour your spirit and soul into your artwork, then there's no point in doing it. That's how I truly feel. So even though sometimes I have these little ideas, like maybe I'll make something, I'm trying to be commercial or I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like meet the audience where they're at. I always need to check myself on that. Just don't do it. Like Kayla, don't write about fairies if you don't give a shit about fairies.
No. You know, I think that there's authors like George R.R. Martin and all all of these people who they clearly love to create an entire world. Like, they don't want to be on Earth. They want to be in a different universe.
Yes.
And I don't want to be in a different universe. Like, I'm cool with here. So I think there's just some people whose brains are not in this realm. That's where they're more comfortable. That's good. I think that that's like a talent and skill all on its own.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Even when I was the most imaginative kid at my peak, which was wild, I was a very imaginative child. I was always on Earth. Like, there was no otherworldly place for me. So I think that that's where I'm comfortable staying. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So I love your thing of reading these first paragraphs of your favorite books.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe next time, I mean, we have ideas for other episodes, but maybe we could share like one or two?
Sure.
I think that would be good for people who are listening too. It's like we can talk about what they did and why it's so gripping. And,
totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. And then will you bring in your writer's compass or whatever that thing was that
yes.
about you?
Okay.
And then
we can go through that.
And then we can, the next episode, bring in the little story that we wrote.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
I think that's fun.
Thank you for listening, and we'll be back again soon.
We'll be back.
All right.
Thanks.